Hello, hello, hello. What's happening, everybody? This is Victor Brooks, and welcome to the Victor Brooks Show. Coming right at you from 5670 Wilshire Boulevard, LA, California.
Yeah. What's up?
And right over here on the side, we got Magic Man Mike. We're in his house right now. And introducing you a little to Victor Brooks, just a PK from Memphis, Tennessee. Born in Baltimore, Maryland, Providence Hospital. Dayton, Ohio. Home of the Midtown Funk. Straight out to Pottstown, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. Pine Forge, shout out. Then we went on over to Huntsville, Alabama, Oakwood College, Redstone Arsenal. Family put it together down south for a long, way down south.
Yeah.
And then took us on over to the home of the blues and the home of the soul, Memphis, Tennessee. That's where the chops really started for us, you know. Shout out to Marmalades Cafe, first place to let me get on stage and make it right. I was just age enough, you know, to be able to take the baggage in for the other cats and learn from what they were teaching on stage. And then from Memphis to LA, California, right across the street from Helen Keller Park, wow. 127th and Bud Long, you know. And that's when life kicked it up a notch, and here we are today. And this podcast thing, and those of us who understand this at 54, you do what you do when you can do it, you know?
Absolutely.
And life teaches you certain things and gives it to you, and you can either learn it then, but you're going to learn it, you know, and you're going to take it from where it needs to be. And that's our start today. And today is really special to me because all those that know what I grew up with, it's about family for me. You know, family is, to me, is what it's all about. And today I have my nephews here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my nephew's here, just coming off of a birthday. We got Brian McKnight Jr., Nico McKnight.
What it do?
You know? And I think your mama's circulating somewhere.
She's
out
in there
there.
somewhere.
She's out there, you know.
She's in there somewhere.
That's right. And you guys are just coming off birthdays. Yours is in October.
October 16th,
Yeah.
27 now.
And you were born in Vista, Oceanside.
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 Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Down south. I remember those days, man. I remember when your mom was carrying you, you know, and it was like, that's my baby sis, and she had this beam and this glow with both of you cats. But, you know, and you were born
November 10th.
in Gardena.
In Gardena Memorial.
L.A. natives,
Come
Southern
on.
California natives, man. Well, thank y'all for being here, fellas.
Oh, of
course,
course,
man.
man. Yeah.
Thank y'all for being here. And
This is awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Great to see you doing it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
for
It's
know.
real.
awesome. Looking
Like,
good.
all these years, I remember y'all saying, you know, Uncle Vic, you got some stories to tell. You got some people you need
For
to
real.
put on the microphone. you
Definitely,
know, and
man. Come on. I don't
I
think
can't-
anyone else could do it
Yeah.
the way that you can.
Thank
That's for
you,
sure.
man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, y'all. So, you know what? I want to talk a little bit about, well, a lot about what are you doing right now? You know, I know you were born as artists. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
You get it on both sides, in your bloodstream and your DNA.
Yeah.
You know, the Willis family,
Right.
artists,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
R.I.P.
come on,
Grandma.
man.
Pretty
Yeah,
late.
Ani Lane, come
Yeah.
on, man. Ani,
Yeah.
I remember Ani would keep us on point. I'm talking about us as a
Oh, yeah.
youngins, keeping us, you know, now, you know, making sure we hitting this right, doing that right, you know, when it
Yeah.
comes to performance and
Oh,
keeping
yeah.
that pocket together. And then, of course, the Brooks side, you know,
Come on.
your grandma and grandpa. So you were born in the music, man.
Oh, yeah.
I know from the whole classical side to the gospel side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how does that feel as part of your DNA musicality, for lack of a better term?
Man. I know for me, it's always been a blessing
Mm-hmm.
knowing how much music we were, fortunate to be around.
Yeah.
And we get that from being around our friends who didn't have it, It's like
Totally.
being able to expose other people to
Mm-hmm.
music we know they would have never heard otherwise if it wasn't for just meeting us, and how
Yeah.
life-changing that one thing could be, man, has always been awesome to me. And in no way in an ego, cocky type way either. It's like, man, it's almost like showing people a new language, but that they can
Mhm.
instantly understand.
Heavy.
you know, even our best friend Tommy, man, because he's such a sponge for music already and brought us a whole different, you know,
Yeah.
side of music. I don't think we would have
Yeah, that's what I
learned.
was gonna say, yeah.
So it's just
Tommy
that
knows his
transfer.
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tommy,
Oh, yeah.
man, R&B and hip hop, and even the new stuff. You know, these guys keep me more up to date because I'm definitely the classic dude in the group. You know, it's hard for me to kind of get away from the legend stuff. You know, the stuff I grew up and listened to with y'all.
Oh yeah.
You know, they keep me really young, and even that in itself I appreciate because, you know, it allows me to keep an open mind because they're always listening to something new, man. So I know even he probably has a whole nother, because he's this guy, man. His mental musical IQ is on another level. It's crazy. Honestly, man, how this guy and our cousin Benji, my Uncle Vic's son, how they remember lyrics is unreal. This guy, man, I mean, all types of music too, rap, whatever we're listening to, they can pull it up, and I've always admired that too.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, same for you too, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I always think about, like, I don't know, you kind of become what you listen to, you know? And, like, I don't know, my whole life I've always, if somebody didn't like it, it made me want to listen to it, you know? So, like, if it was, like, metal, you know, if it was, because that's, like, my favorite genre still, you know? And, like, there's just, like, I never wanted it to be emotion-based with music because I feel like it allowed, like, you can't really separate yourself. That's why I mean, it's good to have emotion with music, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, I've always wanted it to be very, like, I never really cared about, like, what other people want to listen to, you know what I mean? And which led me to, like, now only really be in my top 40 phase, which is weird. Like, I don't know. I used to hate Beyonce.
Okay.
You know, which is weird. People are like, "Why would you not like Beyonce?" I would literally wake up and be like, "No, no, I used to." This is a used to thing. Let me clarify that. I love Beyonce now.
Right.
I love her to death. Please, like, but at the same time, like, I felt like I was so adamant on, like, not caring about, like, the fact that she is a queen to people, and, like, if I didn't like it, I'd be like, "Yeah, I don't. It's not for me," you know.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Life.
But you know what? I can dig that, man, because it's not a thing. Okay, from the old school head, right? There are so many. When the music industry changed, and like we still say today, when the rhythm changed in the music scene, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of us, it took us different. We didn't really understand what this new thing was about. So we were in the same kind of vibe you just said with a lot of artists. Like, man, we just don't dig this.
We don't dig it. Yeah.
You know, it's not something that we're actually feeling. We can't catch it. You know, the lyrics.
And a part of it is somewhat wrapped in, like, envy and, like, jealousy at the same time, because, like, you know, it's easy to just automatically hate stuff when, like, I mean, especially how we grew up, every person was telling you, "Oh, you guys are going to be stars. You guys are going to do this. You guys are going to do that." Yeah. So after a while, you kind of feel entitled to your opinion. You're kind of like, "Oh, I don't like, you know, like, other stuff," or, like, everything's always trash, or, like, "Oh, I don't like that," or whatever. And then after a while, like, I don't know, I just realized, like, it's me doing it to myself. I'm like, I'm cutting myself off of so much good music because, like, I'm mad I'm not in their position. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to listen to that. Or it would make me mad. I couldn't watch music videos.
Okay.
I couldn't, like, you know, like, I can't watch interviews. I can't see, because I'd be like, man, these people are weird. They suck or whatever. But then you're in an ego trap of, like, okay, like, I'm really just mad because, like, I wish I was in that position to, like, be on the radio or, you know, be doing a GQ, doing shows, watching tour vlogs and all that. And it's like, a lot of people won't admit that. It's like, you're just jealous, you know, like, it's a part of it is really, like, I don't want to see somebody else doing what I wish I want to be doing right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, when you fall into that it's never going to end when you fall down there. There's always going to be new artists, and they're getting younger, they're getting newer, they're getting so many different things that are going to annoy the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Like, the generational gap in music is so, like, it's so weird. You know, like, we have Billie Eilish, who is one of the youngest artists, who's one of the biggest artists, competing with, like, Rihanna's and Beyonce's and, you know, Adele's. And it's like, if you can't keep up with how, like, like inclusive it's becoming to everybody with like social media and all that, it's gonna annoy the shit out of you. You're never gonna get out of that rut, you know, because you have to like open up and be like, oh, you know what?
Right.
Hey, it's now the subgenre is the genre, you know.
The subgenre.
The subgenre.
That's that genre. Area.
You need a patent of that right there. Put that on a shirt, man.
But you know what? Let me ask you this though. You brought up a good point. When does it actually, in your opinions? Because one of the things I've always respected about you cats is your honesty. You real. You were born real. Not just artists, but you were born real. You dig? And I remember growing up, you know, one of the biggest things that Nina Simone, at the times that we were able to have her in our life growing up, she made it clear to Julie, Chris, and myself, and hey, you're young artists, because we were youngins. She said, you know, you're born because you're an artist, basically paraphrasing, you were born to be real. You can't help it. So it's just a matter of fact, are you going to present that in your music, in your presentation or not? Are you going to, you know, say what you're feeling about society and this and that? Or what are you going to do with your art to change the world, right? I've always seen that in you cats. And what you write and what you perform, how you perform. So with that, and coming off of what you just said, where does, specifically nowadays in the music industry, right? Where does true artistry, is there a split between true artistry and, I don't like the word sellout. I hated that.
Right.
Yeah.
But is there a difference between true artistry and the public respecting that versus what the machine puts out in your face, in your ear, turn on the radio, this is what you're going to listen to for 24 hours a day. And then before you know it, it's a hit.
You know, for me, man, and honestly, to even kind of piggyback to what Johnny Boy was talking about in the last thing, you know, because I would get caught in that I would get caught in that whole thing a lot, man. And it wasn't until I started to kind of view it all as true artistry, I guess you would say. At this point, man, I'm like, what I had to learn, especially about this new model and these new kids, is they really don't care who it is, what they look like, what they're doing. It's what is your art.
There you go.
And I had to get over the fact that everyone loves what they love. Or I didn't even have to get over that. I had to realize that. And that it wasn't so much of, it's because the machine is putting it out there. I had to take a step back and say, man, if this many people are feeling this way or are feeling this vibe, you know, it's like, it must, that's just for them. And what it showed me as an artist and as a businessman is, we all now have the power to form our own mini monster fan bases of people that just love whatever you do as a person. Like people like Billie Eilish, man, and these other Eilish and these other new young kids. People are just investing in them. And they just happen to do music, or they just happen to be in fashion, or they just happen to be on TV. Now people are doing more investing in the person, in the artist, you know, and that's what I love about. I've begun to really appreciate about how these young kids are really leading that narrative. It's like, man, we don't really care about the visual. What are you giving to us? And that has really helped me kind of let go of that ego thing that I worry about, because it really is just jealousy, man.
Jealousy.
And I think even now that a lot of the bigger artists are kind of following suit, man, that's why we're seeing all this new awesome stuff begin to happen. And I think it's for people like me, man, because I feel like I'm more attached to even the old head kind of thinking about it. I think it's becoming even easier for us to accept all this new stuff. And then I think that gap, like we've always tried to do, man, will lead us to making the best stuff ever once we all finally are across that bridge of, let's just get over who's making it and what they look like and just make art together.
There you go.
So I don't even think for me that there is a split anymore, man, at least in my opinion. I'm like, and maybe it's just that change of mindset more of anything, you know. And like these dudes are really who've helped me begin to see the light, man. Like, it's all art, you know. People are, at the end of the day, they are still creating from their heart, man, and that's art right there.
You know what? You know your uncle, man. I love a good debate, you know, and that y'all grew up knowing the difference between a debate and an argument. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot can get lost in an argument that is like could add a valuable thing in a debate. You know, it's an exchange of ideas. And hearing both your explanations, that's exactly what I'm going to say put me on point. Because it's, and I'm speaking, I know for a lot of cats my age or older, that there is a camp, a big camp, and it's growing every day, of us old heads that a long time ago said, hey, you know what, wait a minute. We may not dig what this one's putting out, but he's one of us.
Mm-hmm.
He's an artist, she's an artist.
Right.
It's like, how's the lack of a better way of an example to put it? If Picasso painted a tree, if Gauguin painted a tree, if Basquiat painted a tree, it's still that same tree, but each of them are going to have different things after that. You know, after it's done.
Yep.
So who's to judge what each one of them saw, or how they saw that tree?
Yeah, man.
Right? And that's the respect that I carry and will forever carry for the younger artists coming up, because I have to keep that in the forefront of how much I respect just the fact that they're artists.
Yeah.
Even though they're younger and their message is different, I may not agree with the message. I may not agree with the groove.
Yeah.
But a lot of it I do. But one thing I will never do is disrespect another artist.
Yeah.
Because that's their expression.
And then especially, it's crazy because I was having this talk the other day, like living in LA, like we have such a, like it's not a fairy tale to us here, which makes it even easier to critique. You know what I mean? Like when you go other places, people have this idea of like what this is, and like they don't want to badmouth anything. Like a lot of people do, but like they won't, because there's like a respect of like, wow, like just walking like this street on Wilshire is like, is like monumental. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you're here, like wow, like I feel too good to really be like any, like it used to baffle me at certain things that would like impress people. Right. You know what I mean? And then like when like living here, I feel like it's been such of a like what's the way to put it? Like I feel like we're so close to the dream all the time that it kind of feels like it's easier to get depressed by not having the dream, if that makes sense.
Without a doubt, man.
You know what I mean?
You're
like
right there.
Yeah,
right there.
like it's too easy to like go in a studio session and like be like a session player and then talk shit about an artist who might be the friend of somebody in the room. You know what I mean? Like because, and you won't think like that. You'll just be like hanging out. We're just kicking it. Like I'm always at the studio, or I'm always doing this, whatever. And then you might I'm sorry, might mess up.
You
fuck
home.
up.
We
Sorry.
home, man.
And
just imagine the grills on the smoke.
all right, cool.
So we
like you
got the ribs on there.
it's just like you get this like entitlement of like your idea because you live here. You know, like it's so like it's like a spell being here. You know,
I can dig it.
And it's scary.
Hollywood,
it's scary.
man.
Yeah, Hollywood, man.
Hollywood, man.
Hollywood, man.
Kind of the same feeling for you too.
Oh, without a doubt, man. And I think, I mean, obviously it was even more pressing for us, but I think even for me, man, without a doubt, because of our dad.
Yeah, totally.
And I think it makes it even easier for people to assume that we only have this dream because we grew up in it. And that, for me, man, has always made it, you know, it's kind of been a chip on my shoulder to prove, like, no, this is really what I believe in my soul, man. I'm here to do. I believe if it wouldn't have been for my dad, I would still want to do this.
I got you.
Yeah.
You know, but that being being even closer in that regard, even for me, man, is what gave me that sense. You figure 21, 22 years old, we're touring, getting to even experience that, like, this guy's 16.
Yeah, we were in Paris. You were 17
man,
years old.
You know, so
like,
imagine we're coming home and having to still be pretty much normal teenagers because we were able to live the illusion that we had really made it already.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, man, like even turning 30 yesterday, I kind of know what it feels like, or what it must feel like for those artists who have tasted it and fallen off.
I got you.
So to have even that perspective, man, and to still be rubbing shoulders with people that are on their way up, people that we know, people that used to sleep on our couches, you know, that stuck to it and that were able to, you know, kind of level up out here because they just really figured it out at a time where I think we were paying our dues in other ways.
Yeah.
You know, and we were never the people we were never the guys in sessions that would talk about people.
I got you.
But I know that even,
Right.
you know, especially myself, had that sense of, you know, I feel more entitled to be here than you.
Okay.
You know what
got
I
you.
mean?
I
And
got you.
it took a while for me to realize, man,
Right,
like,
right.
you know, whether it's your session or not, or whether it's, you got to just know your place, man. Time and place.
Time and
That's
place
the
for
biggest
everything,
thing.
huh?
Yeah.
You
And
know.
it's not about losing the belief in yourself.
Right.
You know, just because you say, okay, because it's a difference, again, dogging somebody, but then understanding, you know, I can deliver too.
Yeah.
And, you know, I dig what they're doing, but I can still, you know, and you brought up a good point, man. You guys, when you mentioned paying your dues, a lot of people, I don't know how much they really know and understand how Nico and BJ, you've paid your dues
Man.
at a young age
Yeah.
in this music, in this entertainment industry, which puts you on point with people even my age or older because, and what do I mean when I say that? Okay, I mean that growing up in this business, and this is pretty much all we as a family have known.
Yeah.
Music, entertainment, of course, the care of needy children, of course, but the essence of who we are as artists in this family, when you grow up in it and this is all you know, there are dues to be paid that you can't get around. What dues do you feel that you've paid and maybe are still paying that are making you who you are? To give to the world what we need. You dig? Like, what dues have you paid that's impacting your artistry every single day?
Honestly, you know, back in the day, it would have been doing shows and learning how to tour and all that stuff. But honestly, man, I think for me, I started really paying my dues after.
Okay.
Because I was afforded the opportunity to do all that. Not off of my own merit alone, you know?
Right.
I think it was having to struggle and having to really begin to figure life out from the perspective of everyday people. That for me, man, has been paying my dues, having to learn the things that we missed out on from this really incredibly privileged life we were afforded to live. Not that it was all rainbows and unicorns, but I think that only helps the fact that we are artists and the fact that we do know how to control a crowd and all of that. And now with this life experience, man, especially this dude, because he really figured it out.
Right on.
You know, it's like that, I believe, is what we needed to even help the people the way that I believe that we both would like to with our music and with our art, you know, with everything we try to put out there. I believe I needed to learn what it's really like, man, to have to survive. And to now be able to apply that to my writing, because all I wrote before were love songs, because I was able to date. I was afforded the time at such a young age to date amazing women. And to think of how the third of the world and 80% of men still can't say something like that is when I had to realize that, man, I was really blessed to not have to really do anything that other young guys had to do, man. And I had to learn it from 25 to 30. And I believe that was really my paying the dues for me, man.
Right on, man.
Beyond the music, you know, that was easy.
Much respect, man.
Yeah, totally.
Out of sight.
It's pretty much the
Out of
same.
sight.
The same. It's like when you really look back on the kind of situation that we were born into. You have a sense of like, okay, like I have to like struggle. 'Cause like it was to the point even for me that like when it really hit rock bottom and like it was really bad, it showed me how much I depended on the things I didn't even like know. Like I didn't even know I was like giving that, or I needed that energy from, you know, like I was like, it got scary because like you realize that you really don't know anything except the dream. You know, and like a lot of people are, you know, they're quick to, you know, call us spoiled, and we are. Trust me, if anybody asks there's a lot of things that you can say about us, about me, that we were definitely spoiled. You know what I mean? Yeah, totally. Like there were things that no 14-year-old should be doing. You know what I mean? That I was just doing. You know what I mean? Whatever you could think of, not anything crazy, but I was doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're doing it, bro. We were going crazy.
It was
14.
It was on another level,
no
man.
Supervision. You know, not maliciously non-supervised, but just not like not
having the space
just
to just
you don't care. And it's like I feel like looking back at all these things, it's like, oh, okay, it was so good, that the duality of it, it had to flip into it being, okay, you guys saw that. Now I got to fuck this up a little bit for you guys, because like you don't understand the weight of like what life is. You know what I mean? Like there's so much life that like was only in waking up to like do music, which is cool. You know, like, and but just that in itself is such a privilege to do. Like you wake up to just walk 2 steps, you're in the studio, and then that's your life. You get out, you go eat, buy some weed, come back, and you're in the studio. You know what I mean? This is 16 years old
all day.
So like I feel like now, you know, not knowing about credit till I was 24. You know what I mean? Not knowing about like, just keep it real. Like there's no toxic credit, no toxic. And I'm not blaming anybody. This is just information that
you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. So I feel like now, like J. Cred said, BJ said, the dues I feel like we pay now is like being is normalcy, and that's crazy. Like even then people be like, wow, listen to these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like they had to get jobs. Oh, boo hoo. But it's like, no, like true. Like we know it's a minuscule thing in the grand scheme. It's like, get a job, you do whatever. But just we're letting you know, like, imagine that being so like, you know, like it's very spoiled bratty, but at the same time, it's like, not a lot of people will admit to you that that's a big deal.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like I wanted a job. It's not easy. It's not like the things that like, you know, it's like, what's that song? The Common People song. We want to live like common people. What's that song?
I don't know.
Okay, well, it's
to attest to the music, like
I'm gonna find it. It's the fact that you brought it up on this
mini remix. But like, there's just like when you grow up a certain way, the other side always is glamorized.
Gotcha.
And I feel like when you actually experience what life is, you realize, you know, oh, okay, I have to work a little hard. I have to work way harder at this. And I want to, you know, like it's like I'm ready to learn, and it's even crazier when nobody can really understand how everyone now like is looking at you like, why didn't you know this already? And people want to point fingers and talk shit about us, and it's like I mean, cool.
You know what, man, I just got to give it to you again, and you know, your uncle, hey, when we planned this interview today, you know, we knew that there was no agenda. Right. One thing, you know, how we go minute to minute, life for life, day to day. You know, something even nowadays what they call reality TV ain't reality. You know, you got scripts and yada yadas. But I think one thing that's being exemplified here right now is the fact that you were also born to take it, to learn something minute by minute, that in this moment there's something to learn. And the honesty that you, Nico, BJ, have always had. And I'm gonna just attest to it, that the fact that I've been blessed to learn things from you all about life itself, because at a young age you learn that there's another side to Hollywood. You dig? In your own way. And growing up, how, you know, the life as far as growing up with dad and mom and the people who were in our lives, we learned that there is another side to Hollywood too, but we heard it third person. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
Of course, we were blessed to have intimate life relationships with Muhammad Ali, and like we mentioned, you know, Nancy Wilson and Nina Simone, and the list can go, because, you know, I hate talking that. A lot of people don't know any of that. And I don't, you know, it's not to talk about. But in this case here, it's exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Everything that we learned, me, Chris, and Julie, about the industry outside of the glitz and glamour, when the cameras go off and the chauffeur drops them off, okay, that's what we knew when the reels started hitting the people that we loved who were part of this industry and taught us the intimate side of the do's and the don'ts. It was still, thank God it happened, but it was still third person. Right. You dig? Yeah. The honesty that you all just gave is the fact that you are first person of what the other side is and the education that comes along with that, right? Oh, yeah. And what's carried you into now. That's why anybody, and I'm going to start the campaign on this show, but I know it's millions of others that still stand behind and give you your prop for your honesty. And you know how I'm old school enough too, that if, I'm about the positivity train. Yeah, man. I'm about the honesty train. And, we on this train, we're riding this one. If we ain't going where you want to go, not y'all, but whoever may be listening, then this ain't a train for you. Right. This train ain't got a judgment on it. This train understands that every day, each one of us are learning lessons. Yeah, man. But while we learning lessons, we got to be counting blessings, because that's what it's about. Period. When we start judging, and when we start armchairing, and this whole social media thing, which y'all have taught me too, is a good tool, but then a lot of us sit back and say, man, we read these, what do you call them, news feeds or whatever, and I'm like, damn, look at how these people are just, when I get into it or somebody says, hey, check this out, and then I'll start reading it, the negativity that jumps off the screen, the judgments that jump off, man, are like, this is what's been going on in the back rooms. This is what's been going on outside of social media for years. Right. But now everybody's just showing their ass. Yep. Right now. Yes. And okay.
In the game right now.
In a way that could be good, because now we see where you're coming from. Right. You put the headlights on. Okay, fine. Yeah. But understand that us on this positivity train, we got headlights too. And what y'all just gave to us, that's what it's about. Yeah. We didn't plan to talk about, I'm going to say the elephant in the room. Yeah, yeah. But shit, much respect for the fact that you brought it and you are comfortable. You're 30 years old, right? Oh,
yeah. 27.
27 years old, right? Yeah. And I'd like to hear, how did it affect you? Now that the door's open, and as much as you're comfortable, where did it hit you? How did it hit you when the whole thing happened? And I think, how did it happen? How did it? Was it a feed? Was it a newsreel? I really don't know. But how did it happen? How did it start?
With the dad situation?
Yes, with the dad situation.
I made a post. Honestly, I'm just going to keep it real, man.
Now, I did remember you said there was a post.
Yeah, right, I'm going to keep it real. I mean, the post, and even what I did wasn't in no way like a spur of the moment type thing or anything like that. Right. It was purely out of defense for my siblings, man. Right. Like I said in the post, it was more because, without going into detail, there are just a few people in my life, man, that you don't cross.
Right on.
And it's like, I don't care who you are. And I really don't, and when it comes to this guy and when it comes to my sisters, I'll end you for them. And what I personally know about my father, man, is he's incredibly vain. And he will not respond to us, but I knew for sure he would respond in some way if I took it publicly. What I didn't expect was my sister to share that sentiment, and I don't believe any of it would have popped off if she wouldn't have also made her post. And that was the only thing that really kind of made me feel bad about the whole situation. I expected him to respond exactly the way that he responded. I knew he was going to bring up money, because that's the only way that he's ever responded. This wasn't no way our first rodeo either. Okay. What killed me was the fact that it really affected my sis. It drove her to speak her truth. Okay. Which at the end of the day, I hate that it turned out the way that it did.
Yeah.
Because she was just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And all I said, and my only intentions with the post were to purely say that I would never in my life treat the people I love this way.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have gone that far if my father wasn't so adamantly focused on extending that type of love and consideration for kids that aren't even his.
Yeah,
Right?
he has a history of that.
It's just
weird.
That's it. And when you're
Strange.
constantly being told how incredible your father is, oh, he's such an incredible dad, he's such an incredible husband.
Wow.
People don't understand what it's like when you know the truth, when you have been through things that you'll never forget. You know, it's been a long time since myself personally have been in a space where it's like, I need my dad. But, and we really haven't really talked about this yet, but even seeing, you know, my brother just now extending that olive branch, at the very least trying to mend or begin some type of relationship.
Right.
Going and becoming the man that he is, you know, maintaining a job, maintaining a crib. He's really doing it, man. And for that not to be an incentive to at the very least, you know, I'm proud of you, something.
Right.
You know, and it's just the coldness for me, you know, that I know that they have received from that situation. It makes me see red, you know, because it's like, man, it grew from a state of, I just want to understand.
I got you.
And for me personally is, I know that there has to be a whole lot of other people going through it.
There you go.
So my thing is, we should all talk about it.
Right.
And I think for no other reason, man, that's why maybe he was our dad, and that's why maybe we were put in this situation, because I know this is something that's been going on for a long time, and we aren't allowed to talk about it in our situation. You know, I think a lot of people, and especially us, when we spoke out about our dad, because he's a celebrity, people were automatically on his side and chastised us. I had people in my DMs telling me I was going to go to hell.
Wow.
For speaking out about my dad.
Really?
For simply speaking about our truth, man.
Really?
I mean, chastising me, condemning me to hell, telling me that I wasn't ever going to amount to anything, specifically just because I spoke out about my father.
That and the fact that he knew that spinning it with money would be the thing that would make everybody be on his side. Because like, if you look at BJ's post and Bree's post, there was nothing that had to do with money. There was nothing that had to do with anything. It was literally 2 paragraphs solely like, basically, we need answers, and they're like, we love you, and we don't understand why you're like this.
Right.
And because, like BJ said, he would have if it would have just been him, like it would have been up and would have never said anything.
This is
you
not
know?
the first time I've spoken out about any of this.
You know, like
right.
he responded because of the flack, because people were like, oh, you know, Brian McKnight's a deadbeat and blah blah blah, and he called me. He's like, now everybody thinks I'm a deadbeat because blah 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 blah, and I'm like, bro, you're the one that brought up money, and you're the one that brought up all this stuff. Like, it didn't have to get to that point, you know. And just the fact that the first thing you say back, it isn't a call. It isn't like a, yo, DM me, let's meet up, let's talk. What the hell is that about? It's a complete like, okay, well, I'm gonna go over that and then talk shit about them, and then on top of that, like, speak about our sister in like crazy ways. You know what I mean? Like, and this is like a young girl. You know what I mean? Like this, that is not. Like, I'm not going to speak on her thing because she's not here, but like, at the end of the day, like, it's a young girl who still loves her father, you know what I mean, that has to see certain things on Instagram that, you know, it has to hurt. You know what I mean? If it hurts me, it hurts him, you know what I mean? Like, and we were the ones around. We saw the crazy, nasty, insane shit, and, you know, she just doesn't. Both of our sisters, you know, they don't deserve to see, like, it's one thing to see you know, your dad with another family, but it's another thing to be completely neglected. Mm-hmm. And then your only response is that you pay child support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then people automatically side with him because he's paying child support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing to me. And that's
crazy.
why, like, it really made me have a mental, like, oh, like, I really stopped giving a fuck about, like, the mentality of people, because, like, it just goes to show you, like, you will completely overrule all the emotional distress, all the trauma, all that stuff, because the kids are paid for.
Yeah.
And then my theory about it is that he likes women with other kids because he doesn't have to pay for those kids.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to, like, he wants to. That's the thing. His
affection without having to pay
monthly for these kids, you know? And, like, I feel like he has, like, in a way, he's so malicious too, that he takes some sort of pride in being able to take care of someone else's children.
Yeah.
Not his own, because legally people, he thinks everybody's out to get him, thinks everybody's in his pockets, you know? And I feel like for us, like, if there's anybody who he should know that aren't like that, it's us. He made, like, like we were asking him for money.
Anyone has held him down.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me, bro? Like,
wow.
But, you know, that's
we
whatever.
get it. I guess that's the biggest thing I've, you know, and I was really so glad that we're talking about this with you, Unc, to be honest, man. You know, because I personally wasn't going to speak on it.
Right.
Again, until the right situation. You know what I mean? Because it's like, to attest to, I think, what you were saying before, man, you know, we really had to live through it all.
Right.
You know, this was in no way our first rodeo in this. And the silver lining that I'm seeing in it is now we have a clean slate.
Right.
You know, if you were close to us, you knew we lost our apartments.
Great.
You know, we went through that. Who hasn't? You know, what young kid hasn't lost an apartment, man, that was struggling doing it on his own? I feel like that goes with paying our dues.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't not an embarrassment for me, as I think as many people thought it was.
Right.
And that took me realizing, like, that just goes to show how many people wish that they had just that.
Right on.
Wow, man, I wish I could have an apartment paid for a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when it came to the flack that I feel like even I caught, you know, I never for a minute was feeling like, oh my gosh, man, this is so crazy. You know, it really allowed me to start to ask myself a lot of the questions I had never asked due to having interactions with people. You know, it allowed me to take a step back and really realize, like, man, was he ever, I had to really think, like, was he really there for us? Like, am I really just spoiled? Am I really just lashing out because I miss him or whatever? Like, it really took me, like, through that next 2 weeks of finding myself in that situation, man. And it was, I feel like, through connecting with all those people that were reaching out to me. It really gave me a clear sense of just pinpointing the actual type of relationship we had with him, you know?
Let me tell y'all something, man. You know what? As we all know in here, this is totally unexpected. But the fact that you cats are coming like you're coming right now, for anybody to question, number one, the honesty that you guys are coming from, I can say they can kiss my ass, they can whatever, they can move on. We'll just keep it at I think they're on the wrong train. To not be able to see and to feel what you cats are saying, what you're feeling, what you're being real about, and not just have the respect to sit back, close their mouth for a minute, whoever it may be, and listen and watch and hear and feel. What do you want? And we can close it out with that subject, whatever, but what is it that you want to say to the ones who may be coming up or have already, all the Christians that already put you in hell, right? All the Christians that put you in hell. You know, what do you want to say to them? All the ones that don't know the do's and the everything that you just broke down right now. You know, is it for all, we can call them haters, we can call them knuckleheads, we can call them whatever, but all of the naysayers, What do you want to say to them, man? Now that the door's open, what is it you want to say to them?
I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say don't judge people,
right?
Because we're humans.
Yeah.
All we do is judge people. That's like it's our business model. I would say, like, you don't know anything. Not like, don't look at our situation and just automatically assume you know, because you don't. There's so many factors. Just like I don't assume that you're smart and you're gonna get everything about something just by seeing BJ's post or seeing that IGTV video that he posted, or like I just want everyone to like love each other.
Positivity train.
Like, because at the end of the day, man, like at the end of the day, like all I got from this situation was that people are so quick to be mean. And like we see that every day. It's just social media in general. Like people instead of like being like, wow, guys, like what's cracking? Like what happened? People automatically they're just so mad at us. Right. Mad at everybody. Yeah. And I'm just like, look, at the end of the day, like just do it. Yeah. Do the right thing and ask questions and actually listen, and like, we're strangers to you. So like, I don't know if BJ has anything else to say, but like, that's all.
Right on, man. Right on.
For me, man, I would just tell people not to follow celebrities so blindly.
Yeah.
And I know that it seems like you love these people because you love their art, and that a lot of people have a false sense that they know these people. Like, there were people that were so hurt by what I said about my dad just because they love One Last Cry.
Yeah.
Just because you came to a show, so you feel like you know this person. But, like, I lived with this dude. I grew, it was interesting to me how many people thought they knew our dad better than us.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing ever.
That was the eye-opening thing.
Comments coming in like that.
People that we consider close. That really,
these are people who
really showed.
People like, yo, man,
that have really showed themselves. Wow, that was the best part of it for me. It was a general line in the sand drawn between the people that I know for sure were just in our lives because of my dad now.
Yeah, totally.
Period.
Wow.
Friends, man.
People, like
real people.
Like
and
great.
It was great.
Like
man.
we said, they just turned the light on.
You're really defending this guy. You're really supposed to be my boy.
Yeah.
Like,
people
you
who
wouldn't
were
know him
sleeping
if it
on
wasn't
the couch.
For me.
Yeah.
And I would just tell them, what I want to hopefully extend to people is, man, just have empathy. Especially in situations that you really don't know about. And I would also go a little further to people and say, don't question why the father-son dynamic is so ridiculous when the sons begin to talk. Nothing we say really matters.
Right.
It wasn't until I spoke out about my dad that people started listening. And now I'm like, the real is out there, man. So there's been such a weight lifted off of my shoulder because I don't feel like I have to live up to who he is anymore.
Okay.
Not at all. You know what I mean? It's
Much
like all that "you're my hero" stuff and all that is really, it's like we're the heroes now. It's given me such a sense of motivation now to lead the family, man. Because I know I know the potential in what we have.
Right.
And I won't let anything get in the way of stopping us from getting there, man. No negativity, no more nonsense. I feel like all the fat has been trimmed. And that's why even situations like this are happening now, man. We're on the 18th floor in Wilshire, Hollywood right now. It's beautiful outside.
That's right.
And we're telling our story, man.
There you go, man.
Our story.
There you go.
And I'm glad to be sitting here with my bro.
That's right.
My boy's looking good. No dreads with the fade. And I just feel like now that the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared, man, it's going to be such an incredible new era for all of this.
Yeah.
And people are going to forget about this tiny blurb that we've had with our dad. We're not the first sons of a well-off father. We have one in the presidency right now. Right. And we all know how that goes. So
Well, you know what? Let's talk about On the Horizon. Let's talk about the new of it all. Man, you know, I know that you cats, man, have been in much respect.
Thank you.
Much respect. Come on. I wish I had my Glenn in here with me.
Oh, man.
And my little rocks on the side. But, you know. But let's talk about what's coming up. Man. What's going on? What's happening? I remember first, Marry Your Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot close anything, cut no camera off, mic, nothing, without the respect that needs to be given in this whole social media platform that we were talking about, the new industry way to make things happen, right? Yeah. Okay, which I'm still learning every day, thanks to y'all too. You know, Vic, Benjamin, all you cats. So just for the record, I have 2 sons, Victor III, Benjamin, both of y'all. All 4 of y'all, same age, grew up more like brothers, right? Instead of cousins, right? I mean, from red light, green light, bumps on the head, mosquito bites, all the way up, right?
Everything.
And you cats have been showing me so much more about how this whole progression of social media, right? So Marry Your Daughter, how many hits to this point?
Oh man,
I don't even know, like man. YouTube's over 100 million.
Now we'll go back up and say that 100+ million hits,
organic ones too.
Now break down what a hit is for us that don't understand the intensity of one. How does even one hit happen versus 100 million of them?
Yeah, what is full that? Playthrough. It's a full playthrough on a YouTube clip.
That means they start play and don't cut it off until it goes off.
Till the end. Yeah. Okay. So that's a one full hit all the way through. That's what I think. I don't know if it has to go to the end all the way through, but you have to watch a good majority of it to get that viewpoint.
Wow.
So I don't know. One day we just
literally
woke up. We woke up in the video. One video that was like one of the only videos up of that song at one point had like 2 million views. And
this is early YouTube.
Too. Yeah, like this.
So what year
2008,
2009.
Yeah. It's like it was pretty.
There wasn't. I don't think there was a viral like hit yet.
No,
you know that wasn't even. We weren't really even saying viral.
Right. No, it was.
It was before Vine. This was before all of that. We were on Ustream, I think.
Ustream. Now that was something before YouTube.
You know, Ustream. No, Ustream was. It was just like a streaming.
Yeah.
It was like Twitch before that kind of a platform. You just like, if you know what Stickam was in the MySpace days, it was like that.
No idea.
People are still getting
Stay off Stickam, kids. If it's still on, you don't want to go on.
Mike, you know about the Stickam?
Good.
So Marry Your Daughter. How did that song come out? Like, I mean, how did you put it together? What was it? You know, give me the history of that tune, man.
Man, honestly, we wrote the song.
You both wrote it?
No, BJ wrote it.
Okay.
Long time ago. Wrote it? No.
Y'all can figure
I did not write it. That was BJ.
Okay.
Long time ago. I was upstairs.
Doing what you do.
I thought we were riding in the car.
No, man.
There's a Taylor Swift song where she says something like, I spoke to your dad. He said, pick out a white dress. And I was just like, I don't think I've ever heard a song from the guy's perspective talking to the dad.
Okay.
And Marry Your Daughter was born that way, man. Uncle Brandon Barnes, happened to be at the house that weekend and helped me finish it. So it all kind of came together, man. And then we still have no idea how the song got out. And the version that actually blew up is the demo version that we recorded. You know, it leaked.
Because you made a video of it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were literally forced and rushed into having to make a video because we realized how popular the song had become, man.
Oh, okay.
And literally from then on, it's just grown and grown and grown. Okay. We still honestly average almost 60,000, 70,000 listeners and have done no pub.
Get down, yo.
You know,
crazy,
150 a month. And really, it's changed my life, man, to be honest. And luckily, we were blessed to meet a lot of the people that helped us get into the analytics side, to get into really the monetization before that was a thing, man. So in the age where people really weren't getting royalties, we were getting royalties. We didn't know we were getting them for a while, but once we realized, man, and we're kind of able to rein it, it really, really was eye-opening just to how the new business model was going to be.
Right on.
And It's still growing, man.
It's still
growing.
What
it's still
market
one of the most
is it
popular
growing in
songs.
the most, or has it grown? And it's I know it's international, but is there a pocket that is really, really like?
Definitely.
Jakarta, Indonesia, and the Philippines, man.
Wow.
Africa as well, honestly, are the top regions that are still just Broken Robots fans, which is so
Broken
awesome.
Robots. Tell me what's happening there.
Broken Robots, man.
Broken Robots is the rock entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
From, I don't know, it started.
Yeah, man, we're like a 12-year-old band.
Yeah.
One album
12.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Working on the follow-up.
So that was Broken Robots.
Oh, yeah.
You were putting together.
Marry Your Daughters build under Broken Robots, man.
So it's a rock.
Yeah. It's very. It's like the heavier side of us.
Definitely the heaviest.
How rock is it? Metal rock? Is it?
No.
I know, but for those who are listening and not hip, what is it?
More. I don't even know the genre of what you would call it. It's definitely like a heavier.
Don't you hate them labels?
Yeah, it's hard. It's too many. There's too many.
It's music, man.
It's rock, but it's definitely rock from a different perspective, man. Because we do have soul vibes,
and it's mostly live instruments.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could say that.
Mostly, but do you do like a combination of, or?
I only bring this up, man, because I'm always so humbled by when people ask me if my drums are real. But the only real instruments are guitar and bass most of the time, and then everything else we program.
Yeah.
And it's always been hard to find the drummer that captures our sound. So usually we go with the electronic joints.
So you are, I mean, let's give it to where it is. Bona fide songwriters, as we just said. Performers, I mean, you came out the womb performing. So it's like as genuine artists, right? And then producers.
Oh, yeah.
So we're covering like a gamut of artistry here, you know, that a lot of people, I think, need to know to have that respect.
Yeah.
Do grow where it needs to grow, you know. And I remember when you guys start putting your first studio together,
man,
downstairs, and you just seemed to know. It was like every month you were getting, and then when you got your guitar, your first real guitar.
Yep.
And I remember sitting there. I forgot how old you were, man, and I'll never forget how special that was when you had your guitar, and I learned my little chords, you know, because I always tell people, I play guitar enough to write a song, then I give it to a real guitar player. But now, you know, I'll write the hell out of a song with my 10, 12 chords.
Yeah, that's what I doubt.
But I remember the day, and were you like 7, 8 when we did the Van Morrison tune?
that was when we just moved into Edwards Mill.
Right.
Jeez,
so in North Carolina, shout out
Raleigh.
You know what I mean? If that was that long ago, I had to have been maybe 12.
Okay, so
because I was older. I think I was 12-ish, maybe 13, because I moved back to LA when I was 17. Yeah, so I would say I was wild.
And I remembered, I said, well, I can teach this one. Because you would sit down with the guitar, just sitting there with, you know, and you were plunking and doing your thing. And I said, well, Moon Dance, okay, 3 chords.
Just a little bar chord.
And, you know, and then before you know it, you was kicking it, man.
It was like the sprout. It was like,
right.
It was like, I can learn,
That's right.
Started learning everything. Steve Vai.
All
my
Vai.
Steve Vai stuff.
That's right, man. Because, I mean, growing up with the Steely Dan in your ear and the Michael Franks in your ear and the Miles in your ear, and, you know, so, fellas, thank you for your time.
Of course, man.
Thank you for your time, man.
Of course.
Love y'all.
Love you too, man.
Always been proud of y'all, man. And then even more the men that you are.
Wow, thank you, man.
When we say grown ass men.
Yeah, we learned that from you guys.
We had y'all, man.
Hey, man.
We had y'all.
We're still learning every day, but, you know, and I remember in Poppy, you know, my grandfather, I remember he told Chris and I, he died when he was 90, literally 99.
99,
and 2 weeks before he died, I remember me and Chris put him to bed, gave him his aspirin, his milk with his little rum taste in it.
Yeah.
And he said, grandsons, he said, I'm 99. And he said, I learned something new every day. And then he told us, he said, you know what? Try to learn something new every day. He said, but stay away from the ones that already act like they know it,
man,
and don't have anything to learn today. He said, those are the dangerous ones.
Yeah.
And I've learned something again today.
Man.
I've learned that through my nephews that real artistry is still living.
Man.
I've learned today through my nephews that honesty is still here. I've learned through my nephews today that family is still number one.
Oh, yeah.
When you're blessed to have it as number one.
Oh, yeah.
I've learned through my nephews today that you got to keep on keeping on.
Got you.
Got
You know what I'm
to.
saying? You got to
to.
keep on keeping on. And I thank y'all, man. And Brother Mike, thank you for your time today,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is Magic, Brother Magic Mike over here. The real Magic Mike. They wrote the movie about Mike.
Yeah, you know, so when he's not here, he's over there.
thing.
You know what I mean?
But
He's
we're
getting
in
it
Mike's house, and we're going to be back, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the Victor Brooks Show, Wilshire Boulevard, L.A.,
Wilshire.
California.
Come on,
Shout out back home to
Boulevard.
Memphis and Raleigh and everybody else. And
And
what you want to say in closing, y'all?
go Bernie.
Go
2020.
Bernie. You know what? We didn't even talk about that. We're going Bernie. Where we going?
Bad. I'm just going.
But we know where we don't
Or
want to
anybody,
go.
anybody else. Just someone progressive, please.
That's
Yeah,
Thank you.
someone progressive.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Thank you.
I could never stand another lonely day without your hand to lead me through this never land of joy